My channel and also the general scientific world considers willpower to be a vital resource for a successful life. Multitudes of past studies claim how conscientiousness, aka willpower, is the most important indicator for a successful future, even compared to cognitive intelligence or the amount of knowledge. The importance of grit and its relations with life outcomes, along with the most popular example evidence for this phenomenon, the marshmallow test, where the longer you can withstand the lure of eating the marshmallow, the more you'll become successful in life. There are tons of data showing that the more you have self-control abilities and resistance to desires, the better your life will turn out. And within the conversation, many studies have also provided evidence that the power to resist desires and persevere is a limited fuel. The more you use it, the tired your willpower will become, leading to you succumbing to impulses. So let's cherish this source of fire. This is a major theme in books like Willpower, Rediscovering the Greatest Human Strength by Roy F. Baumeister, and The Willpower Instinct, How Self-Control Works, Why It Matters, and What You Can Do to Get More of It by Kelly McGonigal, and it's a very, very, very well-known concept. Until, on July of 2016, research done by Curtin University, taking 2,141 mixed-gender samples from 23 different laboratories, questioned its legitimacy. By measuring the reproducibility of the study done by Professor Baumeister, it concluded that the result of willpower being a limited fuel was in fact weak. In statistical terms, it's like this. Now, this is interesting but hard to believe due to the frequent citation of Professor Baumeister's results, along with the existence of a meta-analysis from 2010 supporting his claims. But then, there were evidence pointing out that the 2010 study was full of publication bias, and its results would change when the stats were correctly measured. Professor Baumeister responded by publishing a rebuttal study pointing out the difference in experimental designs between his and the others' study. But since all the rebuttal studies used experimental designs that Professor Baumeister himself approved of, this rebuttal is honestly weak at best. So the current state of how we should view willpower and its depletion basically went back to square one. I myself have previously said that willpower and the related emotional fuels are limited and unreliable. So this is definitely putting a frown on my face. Like, even if the stats and the science is saying that willpower is an unlimited fuel, I doubt that the regular audience can relate to it. Thinking back to the times when their motivation and willpower felt depleted due to, for example, physical exhaustion. So now we're left with the question. What is the difference between those who do and don't have self-control and willpower? Entering the debate now is a study done in 2013, primarily conducted at University of Zurich by the famous Dr. Carol Dweck, a psychologist worldly renowned for her creations on the concept growth and stuck mindset. This study is pretty much a face-off against the willpower depletion theory. It includes 3 different experiments where 87 participants examined their levels of self-control ability and brain activity after fasting for 2 hours, then were tasked to drink lemonade with either calorized sugar or sugar substitute with no calories. 2. Conducted the same test with 62 participants, whom half were taught that willpower depletion was real. 3. Did the same exact experiment as the first one, but as a double-blind study, where neither the participant nor the experimenter knew which lemonade was sweetened with sugar or artificial flavor. The aim of these studies was to see what happens to the willpower of a person who don't know or don't believe in willpower depletion theory, and if the depletion happens, will it return after consuming sugar? Essentially any sign of willpower depletion being a placebo. Okay, it kinda went tangent from the question at the beginning, but the result of the study produced the possibility that willpower might be more psychological than physiological, because the participants who thought that ego depletion exists saw a depletion in willpower, which then increased after consuming sugar water, and those who didn't believe in ego depletion saw no change after consumption. This isn't a whole lot strange due to the existence of multiple past studies also providing similar results, but they are definitely supporting evidence that can be interpreted as willpower depletion itself being a sort of a psychological bias, or at least the thought that willpower depletion exists might actually be hindering your motivational level. On the other hand, these findings can pose a positive outlook to people who struggle with motivation or think that they might be lacking in the perseverance mindset. If willpower is an unlimited fuel, then the issue of the seemingly unmotivated self might be a technical, fixable one. Wait, hold on a second. None of these theories actually help me live my life, you might be thinking. Even if the science says that motivation is actually limitless, us in the sentient world are probably still having issues. It's not like the structure of our motivation or self-control abilities will change its form to our liking if we tell ourselves that it can actually never run out. So it might be best if we discuss a different model to think about the topic of what willpower actually is. And I'm also planning to talk about the actually effective self-control tactics, provided that all this is true. So watch out for that video as well. In the meantime, I suggest you read the book I introduced at the beginning. Like I said, whether or not willpower is scientifically a limited fuel or not, we are experiencing its depletion when we get physically tired, for example, so the issue still requires an answer. And by giving them a read, I think you can find the answer that may not exactly be scientific, but suits your life nonetheless. If you seek a quicker answer or just a suggested tactic from me who's already read the book and the associated studies, you should check out How to Make and Break Habits. I've discussed a number of tactics you can apply in your life to make or break habits, but the crux of this video is to not rely on willpower because it's unreliable, because of everything I've said in this video. As regular human beings, or as scientists who happen to not be studying about this topic, we should honestly care less about developing the general theories of willpower and focus on whether it applies to our own individual lives. That's the goal of my channel, and that's what I think to be the greatest strength of psychology as a study.